Good morning, Colorado. This is the view from the Bellicon this morning. Here's the Bellicon. Here's the view. I don't think those are outhouses, but they have some very cool wildflowers just in front. Of course, the mountains way up there. Gorgeous. Hooper's Truck Stop. It has pink flamingos.
So I went inside. We're at a travel center in Hooper, Colorado. Went inside to get some ice, fill up our ice bucket, and I asked, "Is it okay to get some ice?" The lady says, "Yeah, sure." Went back there, filled it up, and this is like a little mom and pop shop kind of truck stop. That kind of rhymes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mom and pop shop truck stop. And I always like to help, to buy something just to help support them. So I got a couple of Haagen-Dazs ice creams.
Yay!
And went up to the counter, yay! Yeah, to pay for them. And so I guess she saw us pull in the truck. She said, "So where are you heading today?" And I said, "Henderson, Colorado." And she said, "Where's that?" I said, "Well, it's a little bit south and west of Denver." She said, "Oh, so it's a suburb of Denver?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I like to stay away from Denver as much as I can." I laughed. So yeah,
You said
they're really nice people. Yeah, there's a diner, a restaurant in there, a whole bunch of people. It's
like Mayberry.
yeah, it's lunchtime here. It's 12:30 Colorado time, and there's probably 30 people inside. The tables must be good food. Smells good in there. The cooking smells good, and there's a bunch of people in there, and they're happy. There's a lot of chatter. It's just kind of neat, these are all, we're out in farm country, big time farm country out here. And these are probably, the local people that live around here. It's a neat little town. We've been driving through these really quaint little farm towns, country towns, all day. And they're just, each one has its own personality. And they're just, I love that. It's really cool to drive through and see stuff, new stuff, neat stuff. And I'm so tired. I'm burned. I'm burned. The piano was playing, and as I was walking through, it was the way that it was shot that just made me stop. I was just went, wow.
You mean the cinematography?
Yeah, the way the director of photography set up the shots, the lighting, but
Yeah.
there was something else that I can't figure out what it is. It was like the focal length or something, but it added an element that made it really interesting to look at.
Yeah.
It held you. It was just the look of the way that things were shot.
Yeah.
But everything was so simple.
Uh-huh.
The clothing,
Yeah.
the way people were groomed, their hair and whatnot, the room they were in, what was there, and how it was set up. The simple.
Yeah.
And he was in a bed, and a couple of people came in the room and acted like they were concerned about him. And now you had seen, and they just had that scene with the potato where he's standing there looking at the potato and the potato's on the table, shriveled up.
Uh-huh.
And it has some eyes on it.
Yeah.
And he's standing there looking at it, and you look at him and you can tell he's not eating very much.
Right.
I mean, there's no sound. Right? There's no dialogue.
Right.
It's just him and the potato. And
Which is the point.
The camera's on him, and then it's on the potato, and he's looking at the potato.
Yeah.
He just reaches and he breaks off the eyes And then he's looking at the potato again. And then he picks up a knife and he cuts it in half the long way, and it falls open and you can see the black spots in it.
Yeah.
And then they cut to, it's like this pregnant pause on this potato. And I think prior to that, because I've seen it before, it's like you knew that was all he had left.
Right.
Was this old, withered, dried, spoiled potato.
Yeah.
And he looks, he looks like he's starving to death. He's so thin. And the way he moves, his eyes,
I know.
Is like, he's starving.
Yeah.
So then the next scene is he's in a bed. And he's like, stammering. His eyes are moving, they're closed, but they're moving real funny. And his lips are moving, he's stammering and mumbling. And these two people come in the room. And it's a man and a woman. And they're talking, and he's, just like mumbling. So far gone from malnutrition. And she goes in the kitchen, gets a towel, and wets it. And then the way she folds it across her middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
She takes the ends, and she pulls it back around her like this, and she folds it. I've never seen anyone fold a towel like this. And she folded it over on itself like 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then brings it up and makes it this thing and puts it on his forehead, and then his eyes open and they start talking, and he's kind of like coming to his senses somewhat, and she's talking about how concerned they are about him and what's going on, and they raised all this money for him, and like, take care of yourself. And then the man leaves, and she's still talking to him as she gathers her belongings. And he's laying in the bed and he's starving to death, and he's just like, he's got this cloth on, and he's kind of trying to, I guess, figure out what's going on. And she picking up her stuff, and she has a bag of potatoes, right? Huge bag of potatoes. There's like 50 potatoes in that bag, and she walks out.
And leaves him nothing.
And didn't leave him one potato. And I mean, but it was so that's the scene I watched. And I'm watching you could tell, like, the way it was lit, but there's something about the camera. Maybe it was the lens that they used for that those scenes. It was, and I think the absence of sound also makes it have
Absolutely.
much more, gives it so much impact.
Yeah.
Because it was so austere. The mood, the feeling.
Yeah.
And the like desperation of what was going on. And what I noticed, I noticed that about the way that was shot. And I didn't notice that, or I don't remember noticing that when I watched it before, but we watched it on a much smaller screen.
True. So
the way that screenplay was written, it was brilliant. It was very minimalist.
Yes.
I did stay and watch a little more, but there was this one thing I want to just mention about the way that screenplay was written that to me just showed how brilliant, it's an example of how brilliant it was. And I'd love to see the film, in its entirety.
Yeah.
If we have the opportunity, or when we have the opportunity.
It has been a long time since I've seen it.
But this thing happened where, I don't know who it was, because it's kind of out of context for me in the whole storyline. But something happened where some people came, and there's this he's in this building. Those people had just left, or I'm not sure what the time frame was, where the lady left with all the potatoes, and then he's in this room and he's like getting dressed. Mm-hmm. And some people come along and like start shooting up this building across the street, and the guards all start coming out, and it's like they did this thing to make them come out and think they were going to come out in numbers and be, take control of the situation. But there were other people set up across the street, and they just like killed a whole bunch of people. Now he's getting like excited, like he needs to get out of there, and then along comes this tank. And the building that the resistance was shooting from was the building he was in.
Oh.
and the tank starts firing on that building.
Okay.
And so now he's scrambling, and they send guards in the German soldiers go in the building and start searching the building, and it's real dusty from the shell explosions in the building, and they can't really even see anything. They can tell that there have been people living in there because there are clothes hanging on lines inside, and they're just kind of like looking around, and there's, and then he found a place to hide. Well, he waited till dark. He scrambled out of the building, and then here come the troops, and he had to dodge behind these trash cans, and he's like hiding, and he had to wait so long he fell asleep, and then it's later at night and he wakes up and it's quiet. And so he's like trying to sneak out of there, and all of a sudden it's like he's looking and he's in the middle of the street, and then you hear the boots. Soldiers are coming. Don't, 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 don't. You hear the boots, and he's like starts this way, and he starts that way, and he starts this way, and they're so close. He's like he's busted. So what does he do? He lays down in the street,
dead.
Yeah, because there's a whole bunch of dead people right there,
right.
And says, here come the soldiers,
and they just didn't even notice him.
No, and they went right by them, all, including him. And he's laying there, and his face is this way, and they went past him this direction, toward, out of his line of sight, and his face is on the cobblestones. And so he slowly turned his head to look the direction they went. Yeah. And he's still laying there like he's dead. And he waits and he listens. You can tell his eyes, he's listening. And then it's okay to get up, so he gets up. And I was like, okay, I gotta go take a shower.
Played possum.
That idea was like, whoa, it was the perfect thing to do.
Yes.
Because if he'd have done anything else,
the smartest,
he would have made sound, and they would have heard it, and they would have gone looking for him.
Sure.
And he just dropped and played dead. It was so the way that was written. I mean, every part of it I saw was like it had so much impact. What a great film! I'd like to see it.
We'll have to do that. Kind of gorgeous out here, huh? Kind of gorgeous. We are out here near the Colorado River. You like that? I like that. I can just barely hear it. I'm gonna just check and see if I can hear the water over on this side. Can you hear it? Listen. That is such a beautiful sound. Just even a few minutes. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Well, that was fun. Okay, that took 6 minutes, so now it's time to go. That's my break. And it was worth it. Every little bit. That was fun. Jay doesn't get to go, but he'll get to see it later.